And everyone, I apologize. I'm going to have to duck out briefly at about 11 o'clock. I am at home today and I've got a vendor coming by, so I just need to get him situated. So I will pop off camera and hopefully still be within earshot.
Sounds good. I think we should certainly be through the front matter by that point and into the discussion. So,
All right.
and thank you again for kind of helming that at the front end until we get situated.
Yep.
Mr. Secretary, good morning. How are you? Commissioner Scarlett, welcome from the islands.
Thank you. Yes, thanks.
Jimmy, someone stole my hat and I wondered who. Now I know.
I've got yours, Trey.
All right, I'll relax, Pam.
We are,
Margaret,
Pam is we're waiting on Andrew.
He just joined.
Oh, great.
Sarah.
Good morning, Andrew. Commissioner Coben, how are you?
Good morning,
Pam.
everybody.
Good morning.
I believe we have all of the commission members who are on the search committee. We do not yet have Chancellor Carver or President Noland. But I think for purposes of getting the meeting off and running and the front matter of the meeting, I think we can start and let the discussions kind of play out in due time. For the purpose of today, Commissioner Stafford has agreed to open up the meeting and call it to order ahead of the agenda item to elect the chair. So without, all of you should have a copy of the meeting outline, which will walk us through this process. And so Commissioner Stafford, if you would not mind, kick us off, please.
Sure. Thank you, Lou. Good morning, everyone. This meeting of the Executive Director Search Committee of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission is now called to order. Thank you, everyone, for participating. The first order of business will be to call the roll. And since we are all participating virtually, please remember to state whether you are present in the room with anyone else. And then with that, Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Secretary Hargett. Secretary Hargett is present. Commissioner Kingsolver. Commissioner Coben.
Here and alone.
Commissioner Matlock.
Also here and alone.
Commissioner Scarlett.
I'm here. I'm also alone.
Vice Chairman Stafford.
I am here and alone.
And just to make sure, Commissioner Kingsolver. Mr. Vice Chairman, you have 5 members present, constituting a quorum.
Terrific. Thank you much. So our first order of business will be the statement of the need for us to meet electronically today. And so, Mr. Secretary, would you please read that statement?
Speaker. Board members, all members are participating electronically today. As such, Tennessee Code Annotated Section 844-108B2 requires that the committee make a determination that a necessity exists in order for a quorum of members to participate by electronic or other means of communication. A necessity means that the matters to be considered by a public body at a meeting require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. In this instance, 2 facts support a determination of necessity. First, today's agenda items require timely action by this committee to meet the commission's charge to develop a recommendation for a search process for the executive director to be considered by the full commission at the next regularly scheduled meeting on January 27th, 2023. Secondly, scheduling conflicts and other commitments prevented a quorum of members from being physically present today.
Thank you, Mr. Sloan. Do I have a motion to adopt the statement of necessity as recited?
So move.
Second.
Moved and second. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver, Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarlett,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Stafford.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
All right, the motion carries. The statement will be included in the minutes. I'd now like to consider an adoption of the agenda if there are no questions or objections. Can I get a motion for adoption and a second?
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right. With no objection, we'll take a roll call vote as well for this. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver, Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarlett,
Aye.
Chairman Stafford.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
All right, terrific. So our first item on the regular agenda is the selection of a committee chair, and I'll open the floor for nominations for the chair.
If I may, Chairman Stafford, and obviously because of Public Open Meetings Act, I obviously was not able to confer with anybody before this moment. So, but I know Commissioner Scarlett had done some work previously in helping set up a process and had been willing to lead in the past. And, if she's willing to accept, I would like to nominate Commissioner Scarlett for the post of chairman.
Here a motion for nomination of Commissioner Scarlett. Is there a second?
Second.
Or are there any other nominations? I guess I need to take a second first on this nomination, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. A second on this nomination?
I believe Commissioner Matlock did.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Motion moved and seconded. Do I need to accept any additional nominations?
If there are no further nominations, we can proceed to the vote, Chairman Stafford.
Terrific. We'll do a roll call vote again because of the electronic nature. So, Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Secretary Hargett,
Scarlett.
Commissioner Kingsolver, Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarlett. You can pass if you like.
I'll pass.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, you have 4 ayes. Motion carries.
All right. Very well. With that, the election of Commissioner Scarlett as our committee chair, I will pass the gavel to Commissioner Scarlett, our chairman.
All right, well, thank you, and thank you all for your confidence. The next item is we need to actually adopt the executive director job description recommendation for the commission to consider. We've been provided a copy of the existing job description and as well as an edited copy, and I'll open the floor up for discussion.
If I may, Madam Chair, I do have the document in a format that I can share with the group.
Which one are you going to share?
The one with your edits.
Okay. And I'll give a little bit of, just since I edited it, I will provide some context to the committee here of where my mindset was on this. And looking at the original one that was provided, if I were a candidate, it felt to me it needed a little bit more emphasis on the direction that we ought to be going as a state. And so looking at where we stand as a state, I took the view of looking at editing this from a perspective of how can Tennessee be the best in the nation and what is really needed in that space. And then looking at it from a perspective of what's needed internally from a culture standpoint, from the people amazing people that exist inside of THEC, but then also navigating the political waters, working with and partnering with all the institutions, while simultaneously thinking about this from a change management perspective. We are an interesting point when we think about post-secondary education, and things are beginning to shift. And I think we need someone that can really help us and partner to be able to ensure that we are thinking outside the box and moving forward. So I just wanted to give that filter of where these edits came from before we have this further discussion. I'm going to make an assumption that everyone has had a chance to read this, unless Lou, you'd like to read it out loud. I don't know if that would be necessary.
I have some comments, Commissioner Scarlett. I loved what you did. And I couldn't agree with you more about how outstanding our staff is. And I hope anyone who comes in for an interview gets a good, hard look at our staff. I think they're a lot of the reason why we have the quality program we do. Two things I would like to say, well, maybe three, but I love the positive spin you've put on this. And I think that's important, obviously, when you're looking to fill a job, because we have to put a marketing piece out there. I think some of the audience that's going to receive this already thinks of Tennessee as #1 in the nation. So I would just tweak that a little bit. Instead of becoming #1, I would say something about remaining at the top of the food chain, or whatever professional terminology you'd want to use there. We're not trying to achieve that. We are. The other thing I would say is, when you're in a nationwide search for an executive position, job descriptions don't stick to that one-page thing, that rule. I mean, oftentimes they're sent out in a booklet form with multiple pages. What I would love to see is that we combine both of these job descriptions, because yours provides, Commissioner Scarlett, the desire that we want. It's the polish that we want to put on the job posting. What we've been using is probably straight from an HR template, but it's got the nitty gritty. It's got the down to earth stuff. And we do also need to have that. So I see this being a combination of both of these job descriptions. And the last thing I wanted to say is, you refer to the post-secondary experience twice. And I think people who go to college and never finish a credential, an associate degree, or a bachelor's or a graduate degree, that's what we're trying to steer away from. So we really don't want them to have an experience. We want them to have something in hand to take away. So I would change that word to credential. That's all I have to say, though. I love what you did, and I love the fact that you spent that much time on it.
Thank you, Pam. Let me give a little bit of, my preamble, I think, compared to the words that were actually in the job description. I did specify in the job description that we will continue to position Tennessee as a national leader in higher education. So that's a really good point in the way I communicate that. I edited, this is an edited version from what was originally sent out. And as I understand it, the one that was sent out was somewhat dated, but certainly has a lot of the specific information. So there, not much was removed from the original one that was provided by Lou, but edited that document itself. So just food for thought. Then I'd let the staff go through and make sure there's any detailed information that's missing in there. Any other feedback for this? Yeah, sorry, Pam, go on.
I do have one more thing, and this is like the elephant in the room. I can't believe I forgot to mention it, but thank goodness I take notes, and so it helps my brain. You all, I think we need to make a serious decision here as a group. Is this job going to require campus experience? We haven't in the past. We've always said we prefer it. However, for those 8 systems of higher education that are out there in Tennessee, I think they very much would like to see someone at the helm who's been at the campus level before now. I really wish that Chancellor Carver and President Nolan were here to give some feedback on that. I don't think we can move off the job description until we really think carefully about that decision.
Pam, this is Vernon. I'm not opposed to that. I'm just trying to think, do we miss the opportunity that there might be a tremendously gifted candidate out there that has done some really terrific things and had a tremendous amount of experience, but has not necessarily been on a campus? And I don't know that would be likely. And so I guess I throw it back out to those who might know. And you're right. I wish the academicians who are on the committee were here to be able to answer that question. I don't know enough about the various paths to know whether someone would have great credentials but never have been on a campus.
I say it because I don't think there are very many Mike Krauses out there. Mike did a fabulous job. Mike has that organizational understanding, but he also was part politician. We were really, really lucky to have Mike. But I want us to think about it. That's what I'm saying, Vernon.
Yeah, good point.
Hey, Pam, Vernon, this is Keith Carver from UT Martin, and good morning, everybody. Good to see you. I think obviously my advice was I wouldn't want to limit it to someone who's just had campus experience. I would strongly prefer, I think that would be some good wording to put in there, that they had some experience on a campus. I think that would be preferable. While I wouldn't want to eliminate the candidate out there that would have all these and may not have spent time on campus, but had certainly been a SHIO or had great experience in that way, I think it would be preferable if they had spent some time on the campus.
I like that approach, Keith. Yeah, I'd be willing to go with that.
Thank you so much for that, Keith. I really did want to hear from the schools, and I didn't know you had joined us, so I'm thrilled to have your input and your wisdom.
Any other thoughts about the adding that preference?
I think we already say it's preferred, but to add the word strongly is good.
So I'll share some of my perspective on this. I don't know that that's necessary. I think it's fine if it's preferred, and it's certainly something that we evaluate going through the process. However, I think that if it is something that is required, that it's just going to limit the direction of the pool of candidates that we might be able to have access to. I would agree with Vernon on that. So I would rather us stick with the way we have it currently worded as preferred versus strongly preferred. But I do think it's important for us to have it on there. And there's some, I can't really read whether it's actually in there or not, but I think it must be under the bottom part where it talks about requirements.
And so I'm sorry, I think we'll have to add that
Okay.
to this version. And so once you come to an agreement on preferred or strongly preferred, I'll add that as a bullet point.
I can go with preferred. I'm comfortable with that.
Me too.
Preferred's great. Yeah.
And Lou, this is Brian Nolan. I've called in by phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I apologize for the delay. I've been as a viewer on the web, but I couldn't call in, so that the unknown phone number is myself. I've been listening to the dialogue on the WebEx, and I'm comfortable with the revised language as discussed. Thank you.
Is there Is there any more feedback to the proposed and edited job description?
Did we reach a decision on campus experience? Are we going to add that for sure? Is
Preferred
everybody-
campus experience, I think, is the last bullet that was just added. I can't,
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoever's typing, just make sure that it says preferred on there. Okay, there it is. I got it.
thank you. Any other comments or edits to the job description? Or questions?
I agree with Pam. I think it speaks to what we're trying to achieve, so I'm comfortable with it.
Well, if there's no other questions or objections, I will entertain a motion and a second on the executive job description recommendation for the commission consideration.
I move for adoption of the revised job description as we've just discussed.
And I would second that.
Excellent. Mr. Secretary, if you wouldn't mind doing the roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Secretary Hargett,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver, Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarlett,
Aye. I think we can stop
Sorry, Chair.
sharing the document too.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Madam Chairman, you have 5 ayes, the motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Next up, we have the search process recommendation.
Just a point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Since we've got additional members that have joined, I didn't know, I'm not sure, did they get their names called? Are they added to the roll for this meeting?
Only commission members vote,
Okay,
as I understand it. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
okay,
I'll
very
take a
good.
nod.
Thank you.
So, because the next we need to talk about the process, and I'll open up the floor for discussion. There were several options that were provided. Lou, I don't know if you want to walk through those, the recommendation or the several different suggestions that you had provided.
In terms of the search process itself,
Yes.
okay, I think that, something to consider here. This body is supposed to develop a process for recommendation to the full commission at the next quarterly meeting on the 27th. I think that the big buckets that you need to kind of resolve here are one, search committee or a search firm or a traditional search process via HR and interviews and so forth. I think that's your kind of decision number one. I think following that, if you do not go with a search firm, I think then the buckets really fall into the category of how do you want to post the job? What kind of applicant pool size do you want to cull down to a manageable size, and how do you want to do that? How to conduct interviews, and what size finalist pool to then ultimately bring to the commission for consideration down the line. And as one kind of overarching theme here is to consider the timeline that you'd like all this to play out in and the degree to which you need staff or would like staff to assist.
Open the floor. Thank you, Lou. I'll open the floor for conversation about this. I'd love to hear anyone's perspective on thoughts and direction in regards to whether we hire a search firm or do not hire a search firm.
So Madam Chair, for me, from a banking and finance perspective, I can understand exactly how we go about the process of utilizing a search firm versus going through HR and making selections and how long it takes and so on. I'm interested in understanding, for a role like this, what would be the pros and cons of utilizing a search firm versus going with HR. Does anybody have a good explanation for how that process works?
There's some of that along with David. Yes, Chairman Stafford, from a procurement standpoint, there is currently no statewide contract for us to immediately utilize, which would require an RFP to be issued and us to work through the central procurement office. There is an impact on the calendar getting that permission and ability to hire them. We're looking at a minimum of about 90 days to 120 days for us to pursue that RFP. We do give over some control to the central procurement office with regard to selection. Historically, they go with the lowest bid.
Okay, so that helps. And then for an HR search, we're fully in control as a TSAC organization, and everything runs through our HR process, I would assume. And then from a nationwide perspective, are we easily able to cast a very broad net to make sure that we can find the best individuals nationwide or whether internationally?
Yes, sir. We have, and I'll ask David Hydecock, our HR director, to chime in as well. We do have, we've researched the list of industry higher ed periodicals and what those ads would cost to run inside higher ed, the Chronicle of Higher Ed, and so forth. We also may, as a state agency, utilize some of DOHR's mechanisms with regard to Indeed and many of the other search engines and candidate attainment mechanisms. David, could you speak to that, please?
Yep, be glad to. Good morning. So basically what we have available to us in the world of state government currently and THEC is we can post with higher education associations such as the State Higher Education Executive Officers Association. We can post in the Chronicle for Higher Education. Inside Higher Ed was another one that we looked at that's been pretty successful, and Verse Education website as well. That process is relatively straightforward, where we just provide them with what the job description is and what we're looking for in that particular position, and they post it everywhere. My understanding is that's going to be around about $3,000 in cost for us to post all those, and then we would be able to use a payment card or some type of card that we have available to us. Additionally, we could also post with ask the Tennessee Department of Human Resources to do a focused executive search for us, to where they would post it in their recruiting solutions website, in Indeed and LinkedIn as well. I don't think that has any additional cost to it, and it's kind of an interactive process with them where they kind of work with us to find out what we're looking for and then post those out there with a type of pitch for the role, if you would. Or we could do both of those in addition to that too.
One advantage to those two mechanisms is that when the commission determines they're ready, we can move immediately to post that job and proceed.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
I have to say, I was very much in favor of using a search firm, but the 120-day thing absolutely stops me short in my tracks. And I think that's crazy. So, you know, I imagine maybe a good course of action is to do it internally. Since we have said higher education experience is preferred, we've not said it's required. I think the use of platforms like Indeed is going to be absolutely necessary. And I'm wondering if there are state government platforms out there that we should also include in the list, as opposed to, I mean, included with things like Inside Higher Education, the Chronicle, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know about those.
Madam Chair, this is Brian Nolan at East Tennessee State University. A question for staff. Does THEC have the ability to piggyback off an existing contract within higher education So I know, for example, we have contracts with Parker Executive Search as well as Greenwood Asher. Does THEC have the ability to piggyback on those contracts?
No, unfortunately, and I would defer to Scott for the full explanation if necessary, but unfortunately, we don't have that option. Your option to use that in a unique and sole source kind of way is not an option that we have available to us.
That, President Nolan, that it works one way and not the other. ETSU for things like vehicle purchases and things like that can piggyback on to state contracts. Unfortunately, we are not able to do that in reverse and utilize the relationships that you have established.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
So it sounds as if what I'm hearing is that we will likely not use a search firm given the time and the cost, which I think is the right move for us to make. I think as we start to really push this out there, and I mean, what an amazing opportunity for so many people across the nation to think about being able to come to Tennessee and run THEC. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I think as we begin to put this out there and it can proliferate across the communities of higher ed, and also as we spread our wings and think about, and I think about this specifically from our institution leaders, it's thinking about who in their networks might be valuable for us to consider seems like the right move. And that's what I feel like I'm hearing right now. If there's any other thoughts?
Madam Chair, I would agree with you. I think based on what I've heard about the length of time it takes using an outside search firm, we're probably closer to a year before we could get somebody in place. And I don't think that really is the path that we want to go. So I'd be in favor of going in-house. I think the broadest net we can cast would obviously be ideal. And so everything that's been described seems like that would help us to gain the biggest pool that we could possibly get.
What do we think about timelines? I mean, I think I've been pretty open with most of you. The timeline, I'd like to have this filled by June. But I'd love to hear any other thoughts and see from a timeline perspective where everyone's heads are on this.
Madam Chair, this is Secretary Hargett. I think June at the latest. I think that it's even doable within 90, between 90 and 120 days and closer to 90, especially using this internal process. Going back, I want to agree with not using a search firm. In my opinion, a search firm will be generating names for us. In many cases, their commitment to our position might be lukewarm at best. And I don't want us spinning our wheels on that. But I'll just say once again, I think that we can get this done between 90 and 120 days from posting.
Scott, let me ask you a question. Do we want to go ahead and vote on a search firm and timeline and then talk about further process from there?
Madam Chairman, that's completely up to you. If we've got those issues settled, we can certainly make a motion on that and split that vote.
Well, let's do that. I will look for a motion to proceed with our internal resources and with the goal of completing the search within 120 days.
So moved.
Second.
Scott, would you mind running a roll, please? Mr. Secretary, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Secretary Hargett.
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsolver. Commissioner Coben.
You all, I have to vote against this. I don't want to put a 120-day constraint on us. I think if we did that, it would be the greatest miracle of 2023. June 1 sounds comfortable to me, Commissioner Scarlett, but 120 days makes me nervous. Look how hard it was just to get this committee together for this meeting today. I don't think we can sift through names and applications. So I'm so sorry. I have to vote no.
Would you
So
accept,
June 1
Pam?
would be about 120 days from now.
Well, it seems I've been still, I'm so sorry. I never put the math together, but no, I still can't do it. I'd say September. I don't think we can do it that fast, and I don't want to rush through it.
Pam, would you accept a friendly amendment of 100 20 to 150 days. That would take us
Good.
to the end of July.
Why don't we set a goal of September 1? That feels more realistic.
Okay. Well, we've got a motion on the table right now. I guess you want to go ahead and finish the vote, and then we can. Do we need to finish the vote, or can we accept an amendment to the motion?
We can, I think it's subject to the call of the chair. And if the motion is withdrawn and the second is withdrawn, we can suspend this vote, amend it, and take another vote on what will be decided and determined by the committee.
Okay, then I propose we actually withdraw the motions and the seconds and go back to the timeline.
I'm the maker of the original motion. I'll withdraw it. I will wind up voting against this motion.
Yeah.
I think that's too long. And I have been based on my experience, work fills the time. And so if we say it's going to be September 1, you can guarantee it's going to take all the way to September 1. And I would like to think that if we get a batch of applications of really interested, committed people, and we know it when we see it, and we can develop some consensus, that we not have that September 1 hanging out there. This body can always come back and say we're not able to meet the June 1 deadline. We'd like to re-extend that. I'd rather us be ambitious about timeline than the opposite. But I'll withdraw the motion for the sake of if everybody else is more comfortable with an extended timeline. I think what we all agree on is we would rather get it done right than fast. I believe that in 120 days, we can do both.
Okay, well, then let's go back and finish where we are right now then. I apologize.
Commissioner Stafford, do you withdraw your second to the original motion?
No, I won't withdraw.
Continue the vote.
Continue the vote. All right, we will continue the vote. Commissioner Matlock. And this is for the no on the search firm and the 120-day attainment goal.
I will vote aye.
Chairman Scarlett.
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Madam Chairman, you have 4 ayes, 1 nay. The motion carries.
So that does not, oh, it does. Okay, thank you. Very well then. So the next piece within this search is talk about the process. Do we need to finalize what that process is going to look like in regards to how many people we are interviewing, how we break that down to the pool of people, and how many of those individuals we take to the commission? Is that what I understood from the original request?
That's correct. The charge for this committee is to develop a proposed process to recommend to the full commission. And so that can be as detailed and or as broad as this body wishes to do. I think in just my front part there, just described a few buckets of decision points that you probably would want to cover in any recommendation.
So I will tell you what was decided, or at least it's a conversation we had from 2 years ago. Reminder, I was 2 months in, you guys were like, let's do a search. And then we found Emily, which was amazing. In that process, we went through and had determined that if we went through the process of not having a search firm, then the goal at that point would have certainly kind of have a broad spectrum of candidates to bring to the table, and then narrow it down to 2 to 3 to bring to the commission. But I would welcome, I would welcome kind of thoughts on a direction to go there. I think it could be quite broad.
I like the
Madam
idea
Chair,
of bringing 2 or 3 to the commission. I think that's sensible.
Madam Chair, this is Brian Nolan. A question for you and for staff. In terms of process with respect to applications, Could we get a little bit of a concept around confidentiality? If you are to have sitting presidents or chancellors from other systems apply for this position, which I'm confident we will, what's the process through which those names are made public? They're held confidential. I think that's a critical variable in the search process.
As I understand it, and I'll ask the staff to kind of feed on this, if we are doing search interviews with one commission member and our advisory members, it's not made public, but also an confidentiality piece can be held. But if we have more than one, then we have to have has to be public, more than one commission member.
Madam Chair, if I could, there are a couple of aspects here. One is the actual formal application that a candidate would make in response to a job posting. Those records, and President Nolan's aware of this, Rest of Higher Ed has a statute that allows them to shield their candidates, applicants, until the finalists. That is codified at 49.7.154. And we do not, unfortunately, have that ability to shield the names. Bottom line on the application aspect is applicants for this state position should have no expectation of privacy or confidentiality beyond, PII or personal information that would be redacted from the materials in their application as they submit.
I think that needs to be placed clearly in our posting.
I concur.
We have discussed that already internally. Yes, ma'am.
You all, one other thing to consider, unless we're going to double the salary, I doubt we're going to get any university presidents interested in this job. It's pays, about half as much as the least paid president in the state of Tennessee. And I don't think Tennessee is out there in front of salaries nationwide. So another thing to consider.
Regard, I think
Any
you were
other-
mentioning,
Go on.
you were mentioning interviews as well. Anytime the state has gone through, we did consult with the Attorney General's office just to make sure that we were right on this. If interviews are conducted with more than one commission member, that would constitute requirement of an open meeting. What we were advised is that some agencies have used a standardized list of questions and have one member of a board conduct an interview, provide responses and feedback back to staff, which is then distributed to the committee or the commission or board as a whole. One possible avenue, a mechanism you have here with regard to the three advisors that are assisting is they could also participate with one commission member, and that would not cause any kind of sunshine issues for the process.
I would propose that's something that we should lean on as we begin to evaluate the candidates that come to the table. So Keith, Russ, and Brian, you'll probably be called on to help out.
Happy to help.
Thank you.
Ready and willing.
Likewise.
So as what I'm hearing then, as this job description is approved and eventually is posted, start spreading our wings, then we'll start having initial interviews with one commission member and our advisory team, and then narrow it down even further for, I'm guessing I would assume that we'd have to have some committee interviews with whoever the top candidates are as those get narrowed down to 2 to 3.
Yes, ma'am, you could do that. You could, it really, as long as those interviews are conducted in the public eye through a posted meeting, you have the ability to do that. Yes.
What is required of us for providing this back to the commission next week?
So throughout the course of this discussion, our folks have been kind of writing everything down, taking notes. We've also had the recording to go back to for the purpose of developing minutes. We will put all of the recommendations here, not just the parts you voted on, but what you will vote on, into a working document that will then be sent out to the commission as a whole by Monday. And that way, the whole commission has this to kind of sift through and think about ahead of next Friday's full commission meeting.
Okay.
At which
Do we
point,
need
it's my
any-
they can have a full discussion, of course, during that full commission meeting.
Do we need any further votes on this process?
Madam Chair, if you would like to take a vote on including the advisory team members in interviews formally, we could vote on that.
And the 2 to 3.
Okay.
And that, let me clarify what that, from our understanding here at the table internally, that would be an assigned committee member and the advisors conducting early interviews, initial interviews. Is that the will of the chair?
Is that the will of the committee?
I have no problems with it.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yep, that's fine.
I think we
Then-
have any choice, actually, Commissioner Scarlett.
Well, then I would entertain a motion.
Seconded.
Mr. Secretary, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Secretary Hargit,
Uh,
Commissioner Kingsolver,
Aye.
Commissioner Coben,
Aye.
Commissioner Matlock.
Aye.
Chairman Scarlett.
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford.
Aye.
Madam Chair, you have 6 ayes.
Excellent. Thank you all. Any other business? I have one item of business, but I'd like to open up the floor, see if there's any other thoughts, comments, business.
Next meeting,
Well, we can make this a regular Friday thing if you want.
If we're gonna make this a
Well,
regular
well-
Friday thing, I need to get a bit more advance notice so I can factor that into my work schedule.
I guess the question is,
Are we-
what's the purpose of our next meeting? What do we want to accomplish, and what will we have to provide? Be provided with resources?
Yeah, all good questions. I don't know that we need to meet every Friday. I don't even know if we meet weekly. I think that we need to.
Get through commission meeting.
Madam Chair,
Next week is. Go on.
Yeah, I think it might be better to wait until after the full commission vote to
Okay,
set schedule.
let's do that. I also would, I have a question for everyone here. If you are considering posting for this role, I don't know that when anything was initially set forth to say, if you consider posting for this role, you might not want to be on this committee. So I would just open up for conversation there. I guess it'd be more on.
I have no intention of applying for this job.
Come on, Andrew.
Andrew.
well, this search is going to take longer than I thought then.
I just think that might be a bit of a conflict. So if I would propose that if anyone chooses, or have any thoughts, or inkling that you might want to post for this position, that maybe you proactively tenure resignation from this committee. So I will let you handle that with the staff if that's what anyone chooses to do.
I agree.
Anything else? All right, well, if there's
I
nothing else,
think we're good.
staff, is there anything else from our perspective that we need to handle?
No, just to reiterate, we will put these into a working brief, and we will work on that over the weekend and get that out to the full commission by Monday or so.
Okay, well, this concludes our agenda.
Perfect.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Too.